think the biggest challenge that Wichita faced during the last year was economic development and momentum. I look back to when I started on council in 2019, and we really had our foot on the gas pedal. We were doing great work on the West Bank, and we could see growth and development happening, and people were excited about coming down to the city's core and what was going to happen. And so we've had some slowdown during this last year, as we've seen across the state, the nation, and the world. We're not unique in that situation. But what I'm excited about is that I saw really, truly committed individuals, businesses in our community who were innovative and adaptive and flexible. And so restaurants changed their menus, or service providers changed their model of how they do business. And because of that, I think that we're resilient and we're strong, and we're going to continue to come out of this.
I think overall, Wichita's not being able to gather together, not having a river fest, not being able to go to the new ballpark that we built, and everybody was all excited about it, and then we really couldn't utilize it. Not being able to utilize Century 2, we started to work on a new vision and a new plan, whether we wanted to renovate the building, whether we wanted to, how we're going to develop the area. Just seeing some of this great momentum we had just come to a halt, and not knowing when we'd be able to continue as normal. I don't think it will continue as normal. I think we're going to see a new normal, and I'm anxious to see that. But it's been difficult for so many leaders in the community, so many citizens in our community, just having to sit on their hands and not be able to move forward.
Job recovery. There are still thousands of people in our community that are out of work. And I think figuring that out and helping those folks and helping those people stay here becomes really important.
Yeah, we have so much to do in terms of nurturing small businesses. On one hand, it's been good because the pandemic has actually created new opportunities. It's killed a lot of opportunities, but the pandemic has actually created some new opportunities in self-employment and self-starters to get motivated to come up with new ideas to deal with things that we've never dealt with before. So many people working from home now, when a lot of businesses thought it wasn't ever possible, or productivity dropped because if they sent their workers home. But now we're finding out that actually it may work, that there's so many more opportunities for especially small businesses out there and self-starters, entrepreneurs, to come up with new reasons to start a new business.
I would say Wichita has just faced the challenge of believing in itself and rising to that occasion in the face of adversity. And fortunately for us, we always do it. But I think that's been our biggest challenge, is not only doing that, but then how. What's the best way to do that? And again, a lot of the movement comes from the grassroots level. Folks just saying, you know what, here's a problem, here are some solutions, let's try it. If it doesn't work, let's try something else. If it does work, let's double down on it. And Wichita continues to answer that call.
Well, certainly overcoming what was supposed to be a 2-week shutdown to flatten the curve to a year-long restriction and lockdown has been a challenge for everyone, from industry, businesses, to spending time with our families and loved ones. Wichita tends to go in these 50-year cycles where we have a new challenge, but it's also a new opportunity. And I think we're going to come out of this much stronger than we've ever been.
I think the thing that I was most proud of in 2020 was seeing how our community came together all throughout the district with all the challenges that we faced. We had organizations, people, faith leaders, community leaders, all trying to step up to help in any way possible. When the layoffs were announced, we saw people come together with the Air Capital program, a lot of folks in District 1 trying to help out. There were scholarships targeted in District 1. When the pandemic hit, I saw neighbors say, hey, I know that there's people hungry and I want to get out there and help out. And to me, that was inspiring. When we had something that was so scary and potentially dangerous, we had folks willing to get out there and help their neighbor. It's probably my favorite part of 2020.
Two things come to mind. One is the continued work and expansion of the Redbud Trail. and it's just such an exciting amenity to our community, not just for the residents in District 2, but also for the city. And I think there's also regional significance for it, but it's great to go out and see such a world-class trail that allows people to walk and bike and be active. And during COVID, people were really looking for options of things to do outside and that were different. And so it was just really great to see the expansion efforts. The other thing that I'm really excited and proud is the 96 Greenwich corridor. When you look at Stryker, which again is a world-class multi-sport facility, that there were still events happening and still excitement out there. But then also, even during the pandemic and the economic slowdown, we saw growth in that area. Every time that I would go out there, there'd be a new store opening or a new sign that something was coming. And so it was really exciting to see that things didn't completely stop in that area during this time. And we need to continue to reach out to our friends at the state who graciously issued us star bonds so that, you know, we could have Stryker, which then was the catalyst for the rest of that development.
We are looking at a huge opportunity with the CLAP master plan. I am very excited about the plans that are in place, and now that we have a council member in District 3 seat, we can start looking forward and finalizing that CLAP master plan and making CLAP Park a gem of Wichita. The plans that are in place are going to be dynamic, and it's going to transform that portion of Southeast Wichita and give people a reason to come to Southeast Wichita, because that's going to be a big, beautiful place. That's what I'm most proudest about for District 3.
You know, I think we just have so many great projects that have taken years to get to this point, and I think over 2020 they really started to take off. You know, since I've been in office, the 235 Kellogg was a big project. At that time, it's been 7 or 8 years ago, whenever we finally got that opened up. And the West Street corridor from Kellogg down to K42, finally got the expansion going on that. Now we're looking at a way to work that intersection. We've got 7 different stoplights down there. So we're also looking about rideability, walkability, how to get bicycle lanes in the area with the Rails to Trails program that has went over to the Sunset Trail. Originally it was Goddard to 167th. Now we've got that all the way to Kellogg. We've got it in our CIP plan to basically connect Friends, Newman, and to the new ballpark, to where you have connections all the way through the county. So pretty excited about there's just so many infrastructure projects that finally got up and going, and I think it's putting us in a good spot for the next decade.
I'd have to say the spirit of giving. I spend a lot of time every holiday season ringing bells for the Salvation Army. And this year I doubled the number of shifts that I normally do. And to see the reaction from people, knowing that the need was greater this year than probably previous years, the spirit of giving was really strong. I've heard it also at our other nonprofit agencies, our churches, just good community really coming together and helping everybody in a time of need.
The thing I'm most proud of in 2020 is working with neighborhoods, and this is from fixing streets, you know, simple things like that, improving parks, all the way to the development of a new community center. So we're looking at a new community center in District 6, and I think that's really important for our community.
I think just seeing people work together, there's a lot of differences out there, you know, about the policy. Are you going to wear a mask? Do you not wear a mask? I think, you know, the elections were tough on everybody, but I'm starting to see people come together, and, you know, we're Wichitans. We can't be working against each other. Let's get through policy issues and know that, you know, why we're here in Wichita, the great overall value proposition we have here in Wichita. You can get anywhere in town in 20 minutes. You can know your neighbor. We're in the top 50 big cities, but you can still go to the grocery store and run into a handful of people that you know.
First and foremost, my spouse has inspired me. He gets me motivated every day and keeps me going. and makes me want to get up and live life. And but secondly, we have so much in terms of advancing our community. I think Wichita, we've hit rock bottom. I think we're past rock bottom with this pandemic. And so it's inspiring to see where we are going to go in the future in terms of dealing with homelessness, in terms of dealing with nurturing small businesses, giving small businesses and entrepreneurs an environment where they can create and make things happen. That's what I'm most inspired about.
So I think this last year has really shown that our community wants to be engaged and let us know what they feel about things, whether it's COVID restrictions to Century 2 and East Bank Riverfront to city ethics. Our community is getting more engaged than they've ever been, and so I want that to continue. We need to hear from people, especially as we go forward with this community. We've got a lot of big decisions on our plate, a lot of opportunities, and we need to continue to hear from people. And I think this last year has shown that Wichitans aren't afraid to let us know what they feel and their opinions and their thoughts. And for us to make good decisions, we need that continued dialogue, and we need to continue to hear from our neighbors. That has been great this last year because a lot of things have come up that we never thought we'd have to deal with before. And we have to know what our neighbors are wanting, what they need, for us to make those best decisions.
I think what's inspired me the most is that where people live, learn, earn, play, and pray, we saw adaptability. Whether it was the faith community figuring out how they can still engage their members virtually, or businesses who changed their business model, or even our own park and rec department who offered things online, or concerts in the park so that people could participate. Everywhere, across every faction of our community, we saw people really working to serve. The other thing is just the amount of grace that we extended each other during this really challenging time, and I hope that will spill over and continue. I know personally I learned a lot of lessons about being more intentional, about being more adaptive in the work that I do. I'm not a real big technology person, and I had to become this last year, and it was challenging for me, but I just realized that it was okay to say that and to learn some new things, and I think everybody had to do that in some capacity, whether you're a business owner or you're a parent homeschooling your kid. Everybody had to just kind of take a deep breath and figure out how to do the best they can.
One of the biggest things that's inspired me this last year, in 2020 in particular, is the teamwork that came about to create the studios at Humankind, which is a 54-person, 54-unit permanent supportive housing for people that are experiencing homelessness. And we had to bring together City Housing Department, City Council, County Commission, Via Christi St. Francis, and Humankind to make this happen, and to bring a project together like that with those entities to be able to form this beautiful new facility is one of the things that most inspired me this year.
The people of Wichita have inspired me. I mean, last year was tough, and early on, all of this information coming out about the pandemic, I was worried. As an elected, you don't want to share, that worry feeling, because you want people to remain calm and seek information. But I was worried about a lot of what was going on. But again, as I saw people just going out to help feed someone, or churches rallying together, we couldn't open, but they'd have a food drive where you can pull up and just get some food in your vehicle. Folks risking, putting on masks to do that. When we talked about needing masks, the community coming together to do that. Industries here changing their production to make hand sanitizer or to make ventilators. I mean, all of those things are inspiring to see that when this community is in need, the community will step up to help. And that helped me get through every day. Any day that was, had a little despair in it, I could just get on social media and see all these wonderful stories of people stepping up.
So what I'm looking for in terms of, looking forward to in 2021 is economic recovery for those hit hardest by the pandemic. Economic recovery for our community.
I am looking forward to a post-COVID world, mostly post-COVID, where we can get back out, hang out with one another, talk that human interaction that so much of us really love to do. District 1 has a lot of opportunities for that with all of our parks and things downtown. I always tell my colleagues we have a cool part of downtown in District 1, but just getting out and enjoying that time together. And I love engaging with people, getting out of the office, so I'm really looking forward to that, celebrating with Wichita, getting through this, and laying the foundation for a strong future.
I am looking forward to COVID being in our rear view mirror and not our windshield. I think that, hopefully by the end of the second quarter of 2021, we're going to have most people vaccinated and people will feel more comfortable. Already starting to plan a few events in District 2 because we'll be able to bring people together, of course with caution, and make sure that we're keeping our eye on the data and watching trends to make sure that we're not being too aggressive. But I'm just really excited for people to kind of get back into what our next normal is going to be. I don't think things will ever go back to the way they were. I think we'll always have more of a virtual option for people, or maybe hybrid where people can participate in different ways. But I'm just excited for things to get back to where people are interacting and businesses are at full capacity.
So with this COVID challenge, we had to do some things differently. We had to shut down our pools, our aquatics programs because of COVID. But we used that opportunity to invest in all of our pools and new water playgrounds. So this May, we're going to open up refurbished pools, 5 pools that are getting completely refurbished and renovated, including McAdams, now Charles McAfee Pool, and 6 new water playgrounds. So it's a $22 million investment that is going to be so fantastic because each one is different, brings something unique to the community that pool or water playground sits in. And it's just going to be such a great opportunity for our kids and families to get out and enjoy something brand new that's totally different than anything they've ever experienced. It's a great investment in the quality of our life for this community that I think people are going to get really excited about. And they're going to see it just like the new baseball stadium. These are great projects that add to Wichita's quality of life, that make this just the best city to live in, and continue those investments. So those 2 projects are probably the most exciting things I can think of.
The recovery, I would say, hopefully we get a couple more months of this vaccine in our population and we get closer to herd immunity and we get closer to losing masks and not having to worry about social distancing and things like that. I'm looking so much forward to getting life back to normal in terms of the recovery, economically, socially, in every bit. I'm looking forward to the pandemic recovery.
I think just finally starting to see how we're going to end up through this, how we're going to get our gains back in employment. Some jobs have been downsized. We see a lot of office space that maybe we don't have the brick and mortar office. It's going to be utilized the way it has been in the past. Just trying to identify what's going to get us up and going here in Wichita again. I think we've done pretty well through the pandemic, but we've obviously got to be out there forecasting, looking at what's going to really get us up and going in the future.